The nation is mourning today as two officers in the Sheriff's Department in Gilchrist County, Florida, were murdered in cold blood. Sergeant Ramirez, who was only 30 years old, and Deputy Taylor, 25 years old, murdered while they sat on a break through the window of a restaurant. Meanwhile, in our area, Nassau County law enforcement dealing with repeated threats from the notorious gang MS-13, saying they were going to target and kill police officers. I want to bring in my friend, counterterrorism expert, Jonathan Gilliam, who is a Navy SEAL and a former special agent with the FBI. Jonathan, first of all, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. Thank you for having me on.
Let's go to Florida. These two officers killed in cold blood, young men having dinner. Are we not properly addressing the real threat against police officers?
Well, that's a difficult threat to actually to look at overall. Law enforcement can do more things to forward think where these types of incidents may happen. We had in New York City a couple of years ago where two officers were killed eating lunch in their car. So this is a very vulnerable state where these officers are at. And there may need to be a shift in tactics and how they eat. They're on a daily deployment, and there's people who want to kill them, such as this guy.
Now, what about Nassau County? I mean, you're talking about Long Island, a relatively peaceful part of our area for sure, if not the entire country. And now you got this notorious gang threatening to kill cops. What's going on right now in law enforcement on Long Island?
The threat may be new, but MS-13 is nothing new. When I was first in the FBI in New York City back in 2005, I think 2006, the squad that I was on was out in Flushing, New York a lot, and we started to see more MS-13 gang signs out there that were spray painted. This kind of comes with the territory when you arrest somebody on a large scale, but it is something that they need to watch out for. I actually would rather have them outwardly say, we're targeting you, than not say it and then actually target you.
You're a best-selling author. Your book, Sheep No More, doing very well. I want to ask you, just to analyze, kind of loop back around to what's going on with the National School Walkout. You got a bunch of kids, a couple thousand schools walking out, protesting. Is there a disconnect between the real threat to these soft targets and what these kids are advocating?
We've seen in the past couple days cops being killed, MS-13 targeting law enforcement officers. None of that's going to be done with legal weapons. So it's not going to stop any of the violence in the inner city and around this country. And quite frankly, if that school in Florida had, if the Sheriff's Department and the school had done what the law allowed them and followed good policy, they wouldn't have had that shooting. So that's what I'd like to see is not kids telling us what to do. I'd like to see adults who have experience like myself being listened to, and that's not happening, and that's where the real problem is.
What should schools be doing right now to tighten up and secure?
The first thing they need to do are threat assessments. And unfortunately, most lawmakers don't know what a threat assessment is, and most school administrators, I hate to say it, don't care. I had a school in Maryland tell me they weren't interested in a threat assessment because it most likely would never happen at their school. That was their solution. And that's just setting yourself up for failure.
That's amazing. How much more evidence do you need that our schools need to be safer? Amazing. Jonathan, always good to talk to you. Thank you.